Buggy Brooks releasing his new and updated Top 5 QB Prospects 2.0. Biggest mover on this list, LSU's Garrett Nussmeier, moving up from number 4 to number 3 now with just a little over 4 weeks left until the 2026 NFL Draft. What do you know? Number 3 himself, Garrett Nussmeier, with us right now here on The Insiders with me, Tom Pelissero, as well as Ian Rappaport. Garrett, last time I saw you, I was handing you the MVP trophy at the Senior Bowl. You've had a lot going on in the last 2 months. Bring us up to speed. Where you been? What you've had going on?
Yeah, first off, appreciate you guys for having me. Man, it's been fun, It's definitely a grind, but it's a dream come true for all of us, going through this process. And so just super excited, for the remaining month, and obviously a little nerve-wracking, but definitely looking forward to draft day.
So you're a kind of intriguing prospect, which, there's obviously some good and some bad with the way your season went this past year. People didn't even know how injured you were, whether you were injured. I think a lot of us are sort of learning on the fly here. The one thing I wanted to ask you about, so after your pro day, some of the texts from general managers and evaluators that I talked to were like this: the ball's jumping off his hand and he looks like 2024. What do you think when you hear that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long road to try and get back to being healthy, It's been tough. It was definitely a challenging year. And I'm a big believer in my faith. And so, I'm very thankful, to have gone through it, as crazy as that sounds. I feel like because I went through what I went through this year, and I don't know if there's anything that's going to be able to phase me going into this next level. And so I'm excited for any opportunity that I get from a franchise. I was grateful that I was able to kind of go out there yesterday and just kind of show, that I'm back a little bit, that I can make any throw out there and do it at a high level. And so just grateful for the opportunity. And, those guys also, they made some great plays for me out there, made me look better than I was, I guess. So
it was called an abdominal injury at the time, which those of us who are not doctors but cover these injuries a lot in football know that can mean a bunch of different things. Can you just tell us exactly what you were dealing with and how it affected you last season?
Yeah, so, the injury occurred day 2 of fall camp last season. And so really anytime I went to throw the football, it was a stabbing pain in my ab. And so we actually didn't know what it was either throughout the entire year. And that's not the trainer's fault, not the doctor's fault here. It was just kind of a rare deal. And, I have discussed with the teams, what the actual injury was now that we have the real diagnosis. And, all the teams have that information. I won't release that publicly. But it was a rare deal. It was a frustrating deal, something that, I'm, as I said before, a big believer in my faith, and it could have only happened if it was God's plan. And so I'm just thankful that I'm able to get back to being me, now that I'm healthy and excited for whatever's next.
Did you have to, relearn how to throw? Because I imagine when you have an injury that directly affects the main thing that you do on the field, you probably alter some things. Was there a process like that as you actually now finally feel healthy?
Yeah, it's been tough. I've been out in California with 3D QB, really just retraining everything from the ground up. I had created so many bad habits of trying to throw the football just to get it out of my hand. And so it was tough. To be blank, I really couldn't throw the ball this year. And so having to relearn how to do that, I had about, I think it was 9 or 8 days to prepare for the Senior Bowl when I was actually able to throw the ball. And so trying to do that really fast and get back to being me, it's been a grind. But it's also been a good thing for me as well, polishing up my mechanics and preparing me for this next level.
One thing that we talked about at the Senior Bowl and that I noticed on the sideline was even after you were out of the game, you weren't one of those guys just kind of all right, joking around on the bench, sign some autographs. You literally were listening in to the play calls. I think it was Scott Tolzien was the coordinator. You were listening on a helmet. You were communicating with guys, talking about substitutions. Just take me through, because I don't think that was for show. I don't think you even knew that I was watching that. But just tell me about how you try to soak up all those different aspects of the game as the son of a coach to kind of build what you are as a person and a quarterback.
Yeah, well, I give credit to my dad, but also to my mom. We were raised faith, family, and football. And so it was faith, it was family, and then it was football. Football is all I know. And so anytime I'm around the game, I'm always just trying to soak up whatever I can. And so, we also had some great quarterbacks out there on our team, Taylor Green and Luke Altmaier. So getting to, hear the play call, seeing those guys operate was fun too. And had a great time with Coach Tolzien, learning the playbook and that type of thing. And so, yeah, football is what I love to do. When I'm done playing, hopefully in 20 years, I want to be a coach after that. And so it's just who I am. It's all I know, and it's what I love to do. And I'm just grateful that I have this opportunity.
So you may eventually be Coach Nussmeier, but there is already a Coach Nussmeier. You mentioned him, your dad, Doug, New Orleans Saints, offensive guru and quarterback guru. I imagine that he was a constant force in your life since growing up. What's the number one thing that your dad has taught you, either on the field or just kind of as you go through all this?
Yeah, I don't know if I could put one thing on it. My dad has been such a huge influence for me. He's helped me so much, and I'm so grateful to have him as my father. And so, I think going back to high school, I always tell this story. Mom comes on the field after the game, gives me a hug, great job. Dad comes up, first thing he says, "What the heck were you doing on third down in the red zone down there, son?" And he's like, "You can't take a sack there. What are you doing?" And he's like, "But great job. I love you. I'm proud of you." And so, he's definitely been tough on me when it comes to the game of football, but he's also a father first, and he does a great job of that. So very, very grateful for our relationship.
And you got a little brother, too, Colton, who I bumped into at a high school quarterback camp, who can also rip it pretty good, might be on this show in several years after his college career. Let me ask you about one of your LSU teammates, Mansour Delane, who I think a lot of people knew, obviously, through the process. But at Pro Day, the way that he tested, the way that he ran, like, you're around that guy every day. What kind of physical freak is that dude?
That guy's an unbelievable football player. Regardless of what he would have run out there and ran. He put on the tape. That guy is a lockdown corner. He's the best corner in this draft. He's one of the best corners I've ever seen. I could think back to my freshman year practicing against Derek Stingley, and it was very similar. Mansour's an unbelievable player, and I'm very happy for him. Glad the process has gone well for him. Obviously, he's able to kind of showcase his wheels the other day, and so very, very happy for him and excited to see where he goes.
So there's obviously a lot of stress as you go through the process. About a month to go. There's going to be meetings. There's going to be workouts. Tell us what you are going to be going through the next month or so. Who you meeting with, what teams you're talking to. Kind of give us the rundown a little bit before we get you out of here.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff coming up. I got the Jets coming the next couple of days here. I got the Rams coming into town. I'm heading out to Indianapolis. Headed to Gruden this weekend, which I'm excited for. That's going to be a lot of fun. So excited to get to cut it up with him a little bit. And I got a lot of other stuff going on. I got Zooms every day and things like that. And I'm sure there'll be a couple more visits in there. So I'm just grateful, to any organization that's going to give me a chance. I just want the opportunity to prove that I belong in this league. And I just want to be able to prove that, the Garrett Nussmeier that everyone saw in 2024 is still Garrett Nussmeier. I'm still that player. And just because an injury stopped me from showing that this year doesn't mean that I'm not going to get back to being me. And I just want an opportunity to be able to show that.
29 more days till the 2026 NFL Draft, and soon thereafter, Garrett Nussmeier will find out where he is going, dude. Thanks a ton. Great to see you again, man. We'll cut you down the line.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. God bless.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
29 days. That's right. That's all we got until the NFL Draft, which means we are in the thick of Pro Day season. Coming up after this, we'll talk about what happened in Columbus. Some of the top prospects on the field at Ohio State. Stacey Dales, Bucky Brooks breaking it down on the Insiders.